So, following in my little series of the franchises that can be saved, or can they? I previously did Doctor Who, and I was speaking narratively that, and I more or less keep that way with this. In which case, in a lot of ways, I guess you could argue they all can be saved in that manner. But so I covered that with Doctor Who. With Star Wars, there's quite a giant elephant in the room to where even a cool narrative that fixes things is still might not be enough. So, guess that already answers the question. Narratively, now we've been hearing rumors about this, most notably out of Doomcock and I think some others. I think Grace Randolph covered it too. But that they would pursue this idea that it fits in if you count all the cartoon series with the world between worlds and all that. Basically a time travel plot could relegate the sequel trilogy to non-canon status, as it is just an alternate timeline of things that could have happened but didn't, and then move forward that way. And the only way to detail this story would probably be through animation or something like that. As far as a new series of films, I don't think that would happen. And the big problem with it is, what was it? Well, you hadn't had a Star Wars movie since Revenge of the Sith. And Force Awakens certainly proved that there was an appetite for more Star Wars. And, but then they saw it, and it was downhill after that, And then, of course, Last Jedi being this hydrogen bomb to the franchise, and unfortunately to other events, most notably the passing of Carrie Fisher, makes it pretty much impossible to heal that wound. Had there been had she been alive, and the Rise of Skywalker could have been a film that some sort of narrative structure could have been written to explain away the foolishness of Last Jedi, and actually have a story. There really wasn't. There were ideas of a story, more or less, not even fully realized. Rey, the character herself, never got one. All that stuff, and till the very end, basically, really, oh, you're a Palpatine. God, bringing Palpatine back was just so kinds of wrong, So the element of a narrative with this idea of the world between worlds and all of that, and some of the little tidbits we got of what the original treatments were supposed to be that George Lucas offered, seemed to point to what I thought was probably the only story left to tell after something like Return of the Jedi, where the Sith have been defeated. That's over. The Empire's in shambles. Yes, with now called Legends, the expanded universe stories about mopping up what was left of the Empire. Certainly, there's more adventures there, but the ages of the main stars didn't match up with that. That was not that far away from Return of the Jedi. Other than animation or recasting, you really couldn't detail those stories, but you could keep them canon and craft a story around whatever this era would be, and involve those characters. Now, the ones that were there, the kids and everything that came out of Han and Leia, and then Luke and Mara, who mourns for Mara, so we need female characters. And then here was one that was incredibly popular in those stories, and she's nowhere to be found, and all that stuff, and could have written something into that. Well, that could be referenced and everything, but, I suppose realized in live action, possibly, to give it strength and whatnot on the level of the original films, to rewrite the ultimate fate of Luke and his friends, and then you hand it off, because it's just this generational saga, it's this generational story. So if you had the father, the son, then the grandchildren, would be the final story of but what would the story be? And I thought the elements of the last story to tell is the Force itself. What is it? How much further does it go? And actually, the setup of Luke being lost and hidden away, and there he is. He's at the original Jedi temple. All those elements could have been used for a story. That's what he's looking for, something that he's trying to figure something out. There's a mystery that he wasn't prepared for, and he's struggling to find the solution to it. And you could tie that into what happened to, in this case, Ben Solo. Or you could go back to where it's Jason and all that. And that would have made for a much more connected family story. And then Rey herself, either she's Luke's daughter or I don't know what else, this or just a new character, who comes into this, finds Luke and all that. But by this point, it has to have been something that is connected, that the Force is working with it. If she's not Luke's daughter, then she could have been just another, child of the Force, the way Anakin was. Something along those lines, but not what they did. I mean, even if you want to put it in there that she's Palpatine's daughter, then yeah, okay, but Palpatine's still dead. All right, so it's this terrible secret she finds out and struggles with and all that. But they didn't do any of that. But some sort of time travel thing where a different outcome happens with these characters, then yeah, you could do that narratively. But there again, it's all in with the alternate timeline stuff, which fits in more with Star Trek than any of the others, because they did do multiverse stories in Star Trek, and to some extent so did Doctor Who, but Star Wars not really. Other than this, the animated series, which revealed this world between worlds, and this is an idea of how expanding on the mystery of the Force and how much further does it go and what other powers are there, and that then this is a bit more of Luke, at this point, not him going into fighting battles and stuff like he did in the original films, but something even more to this. There would still be a war of some sort. It is called Star Wars. And you could throw it in that the same problems that the Separatist thing, it wasn't all just Palpatine. He was just feeding off of that and making trouble so he could gain power. But that the same grievances would still be there between the different systems and whatnot. All of that. But the problem here is even if you had this cool idea of making those elements work and this well plotted out and everything, it can't fix what happened, and I don't think it can ever be what it could have been after something like that. And it's just a big, ginormous, gaping hole in this franchise that was once, the biggest ever probably, and it's gone. And you had this moment of where you could have had the equivalent of a Beatles reunion. It was right there, and you didn't do it, and it's too late. And so that's not an element of storytelling, that's not an element of narrative, but it is what it is. And now over time in the future, people who aren't that connected with the original, and it wouldn't bother them for a story that's recast or whatever. Even I was like, I thought in between they could have had a Mara Jade movie and you recast a younger actor to play Luke. It didn't really bother. The Solo movie didn't really bother me, although I knew of another actor who probably could have done better. But nevertheless, that didn't bother me in and of itself, just the concept or whatnot. But that could have, weaved in elements that were established in the, expanded universe, but they wanted to change things and this sort of, instead of just abandoning it entirely and to give Luke more motivation. Like, what if Ben Solo had killed Mara Jade, or something like that. You could have done this, one of the standalone movies could have been a Mara Jade, and then a lot of people suggest, what's his name, Sebastian Stan is the younger Luke and whatnot, which fine, that would be fine. But it's not what happened. So can you go back and do it? Yeah, but the wounds run deep. And then, of course, all the nastiness that happened between calling fans Nazis and whatnot. It's too late. And so some good things Mandalorian is liked and whatnot, and so there's still this desire for the idea of Star Wars, but it's never going to be what it was and what it could have been. And that's a pain that's not going to go away for certainly not original fans like myself, but yeah, somewhere down the line maybe people will appreciate the efforts that some people are trying to put forth to save it. But this is for me, it's a no. It can't be saved in the form it was meant to be. So sorry about that, but that's what it is. There was this golden opportunity. It was pretty blatantly obvious, and they threw it in the trash. So that's all right. Thank you for watching and listening. Slay. Why not like and subscribe and check out that link description below. That'll take you to my mini stores and have plenty of goodies for you. You know, hats, mugs, stickers, posters, all that goody stuff. Plus, you can head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book Night Night. Oh, yeah. Plus, you can also catch my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, over at RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on my channel at BitChute. That's the Mr Nailsin channel on BitChute.com.